guys. This is not really a good news, but in some way, we've got some elements of good news in it. And I'm sure you all recall that latter part of 2023, the UK government, through the minister responsible for legal migration and border, issued some statements regarding their plans to cut net migration in the UK. So many people were looking forward to these anticipated cuts and plans. And finally, just a couple of days ago, about 2 or 3 days ago, they've now issued when exactly these plans are coming into force. So I want us to quickly look at the five main changes the UK government intends to make to the to their visa application route. So I want each and everyone to stay with me and pay attention. You can note down the five main points so that you also know the course of action to take going forward. So now let's move on. So as you can see on your screen, the Minister for Legal Migration and Border wrote a Dear colleagues letter to all MPs on the 21st of December 2023, setting out further information on the implementation of these measures. So on Tuesday, 30th January, further detail was provided on when the government's package to reduce migration will come into force. So key measures that the government is taking to cut net migration are, so now let's look at those key measures. So the first one is stopping overseas care workers from bringing family dependents and requiring social care firms in England to be undertaking Care Quality Commission registered activities to sponsor visits, which will come into force on 11th March. 11th March. So this particular initiative came into force about 3 days ago. So this has already been implemented and their plan is to cut net migration. So as you can see from ongoing now, and that was from the 11th of March, no care worker or senior care worker will be able to file for a spouse or child or dependent visas going forward. And it is estimated that over the last course of last year, 100,000 care visas were issued, and these 100,000 came to the UK with 120,000 dependents. So as you can see, and out of the 120,000 dependents who came to the UK accompanying their main sponsor or who came to the UK as dependents, only about 25% of this figure were in active workforce. So the UK made a conclusion that in as much as lots of dependents are coming, they are not contribute significantly to the UK economy, hence influencing their decision to eliminate dependents visa. Secondly, they are also increasing the earning threshold for overseas workers by nearly 50% from its current position of 26,200 to 38,700 from 4th April 2024. So this particular initiative will also come into force from April 2024. So if you have anything to do, my advice is to get on your toes now before this particular one comes into force. So currently, if you are coming to the UK as a skilled worker visa, on a skilled worker visa or health and care visa, you need 26,200 job to be able to issue you with a certificate of sponsorship. But from 4th April, they will increase that figure to 38,700. This is going to make it very difficult for hospitals, for companies to recruit, because it's only few companies that are willing to issue this to foreigners or overseas workers as a starting salary. And therefore, the idea for this initiative is to get the employers in the UK to develop the UK workforce internally rather than relying on overseas workers. The third initiative or policy is that they are scrapping the current shortage occupation list that permitted care workers and senior care workers to come into the UK, and they are going to replace it with immigration salary list. So people are now going to come into the UK based on their salary rather than the kind of work they do, and this will in turn cut about 20 we will earn the 20% going rate salary discount for shortage occupation. So the 20% discount is also going to be eliminated, and this rule will come into force on 14th March. So as I present to you now, this rule has already been implemented. So we no more have shortage occupation list, and we now have the immigration salary list. The fourth thing I want you to consider is they are raising the minimum income for family visas to 38,700, in line with the minimum salary threshold for the skilled worker route, to ensure people only bring dependents to the UK they can support financially. So the idea is they want you to bring people that you'll be able to help. And you remember um, our point two currently is 26,000. If you want to come to the UK as a skilled worker visa, this is the salary the company needs to pay you for you to be eligible for the visa. From 4th April, this will gradually increase over time to 38,700 by the end of 2025. They are using that same threshold for skilled workers. So when you talk about skilled workers, nurses, doctors, the care workers and the senior care workers are not part of the skilled worker route. Okay, so they cannot bring dependents, and in essence, that care and senior care visa rules have also been severely affected. Okay, and it has been eliminated, and it has been replaced with the immigration salary list. So care workers and senior care workers are no longer on the shortage occupation list, but rather those companies' salaries are going to be increased, and they are going to be put on the immigration salary list. So if you are a nurse, a doctor, a skilled worker, a lawyer, and if you want to bring your spouse or any dependent, meaning you need to be making this amount a year before you be eligible for them to bring them to the UK. And they are saying we will raise the minimum income for family visas incrementally in stages. So meaning that they are not just going to increase it from the current 20 the current 18,000 currently is 18,000. They are not, I mean, going to increase it suddenly from 18,000 to 38,000, but they are going to increase it gradually over the period. So they're starting at 29,000 from 11th April. So from 11th April, it will be increased from. So let's quickly have a look. So this is how to prove your income if you want to bring a spouse or dependent. Currently, it is 18,000. Okay, currently it's 18,600. So if I want to bring my wife, I need to make about 18,600 a year before I'll be able to bring my wife or my child. But this amount, 18,600 a year, from 11th April will increase to 29,000. Do you get it? So you can no longer rely on the 18,600 a year to bring a dependent. From 11th April, that amount 18,600 will be increased to 29,000 before you can bring a dependent, that's your spouse or your child. And this figure will increase gradually to 38,700 by the early months of 2025. So, guys, if you want to go and marry, if you have anyone to bring as a dependent on the skilled worker visa, you need to do that now. And finally, we we will be asking the MAC to review the graduate routes. So students' visa routes are also going to be impacted, and students, graduates can no longer bring their dependents. So now let's quickly have a look at few other additions. So from today, that was when this article was published, 11th March 2024, overseas care workers and senior care workers coming to the UK will no longer be able to bring dependents. Okay, so even though care workers and senior workers can still come to the UK, but remember that their salary requirement have changed. So initially we had a shortage occupation list which comprised of the care workers and the senior care workers. Okay, however, the recent changes means that these working groups will be moved from the shortage occupation list to the immigration salary list with a increased salary requirement. So even though care workers and senior care workers can still come to the UK, it will be very difficult for companies to recruit because of the salary requirement. And in addition to that, they can no longer bring their dependents, which is very, very stringent. All right. So, guys, and I mean, as I explained earlier, 100,000 care workers came to the UK and they came with 120,000 dependents. So, this is part of the reason why they've made several changes um, to the immigration rules. So, guys, if you have anything to do, my advice is if you have any application to make, if you're a skilled worker and if you have any application to make, you need to make it now before April 4th. And unfortunately for carers and the senior care workers, the policy has already been implemented, which is running as I speak now. So unfortunately, however, if you've already started the application process before the 11th of March, then you will be permitted to bring your dependents because you started the process before the policy came into force. Same will be applied to the skilled workers. So you need to submit your application before 4th April so that you can also be exempted from the new salary requirement. So guys, let's get interactive. Leave comments. If you have any questions, please ask under the comment section and the team will be able to help you and guide you. You can also send us personal emails depending on your personal situation so that we can advise you accordingly. Remember, we are not immigration experts. We are just here for education and guidance purposes. If you want to submit a visa application or if you want to make any in-depth inquiry, we advise you speak to a solicitor or an immigration expert. Thank you very much. Please share, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and let's get interactive. All the best, and we will see you soon.